Hey guys, we're back once again, and today I'm going to be giving you my preview and predictions for Money in the Bank 2024. My name is Andy. For those of you that have never been on this channel, I'm a wrestling fan from Ghana, West Africa. If you do like the content on this channel, then please do go ahead and subscribe and like this video. Now let's talk some Money in the Bank. The first match I'm going to be tackling is the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You have Andrade versus Chad Gable versus Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre versus Carmelo Hayes versus LA Knight. Now, I think there's a lot of factors going into this match. A lot of these characters have side stories which could come into play in the course of this match. One of the most compelling ones in this is Drew McIntyre. Now, Drew McIntyre has been embroiled in practically a blood feud with CM Punk. And it's quite safe to say that we expect CM Punk to interfere and cost Drew McIntyre the Money in the Bank contract, similar to what Jinder Mahal did to Drew McIntyre in 2021, the last time Drew was in a Money in the Bank ladder match. And then you have Chad Gable, who seemingly has come into the crosshairs of the Wyatt Six. He's been a primary target of theirs since they debuted about 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, and it looks like they very well could be a factor in this match. And Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy gave the motivations for the Wyatt Six faction. They're going after people who have turned their backs on their families, and Chad Gable turned his back on the Alpha Academy, leading to the breakdown of that group. So it's yet to be seen what happens, but that's another possible factor. And then you have LA Knight, who for the second consecutive year is qualifying for Money in the Bank. He is one of the favorites. However, he is also embroiled in a feud with Logan Paul and is seemingly heading to SummerSlam, where they take on each other for the United States Championship. And it's looking like that could be a factor because Logan Paul is not on this card, but it's Canada, it's Money in the Bank, it's being touted to be a big show, so that's a possibility as well. And that leads us to Carmelo Hayes. Now, ever since being drafted to SmackDown in the 2024 WWE draft, he has been on quite the tear. He's been doing very, very well. It's kind of similar to what Braun is doing on Monday Night Raw, but he has seemingly come into the crosshairs of some veterans, and two of these people in question are Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin, and it's yet to be seen if they will be a factor in this match. I don't think they will be, but we will see. Then we have Andrade, who in my mind is kind of a favorite to win this match. He's a bit of a sleeper pick, but I'm really high on him winning this match. He has had some interactions with Legado del Fantasma, so I don't know how much of a factor they will be in the long run. It is safe to say that Legado del Fantasma might cost in the match, but who knows? It's kind of the same deal with Carmelo Hayes. We really don't know. And that leads us to Jey Uso. Jey Uso, the proverbial poster boy for this event, called his shot well before Clash at the Castle, was the first to qualify for the match as well. Doesn't really have much going on for him. He is a really strong pick to win this match, but if you had to ask me, I want to think Andrade wins. And the reason I'm taking this away from Jey Uso is Jey, I believe, will get involved in the Bloodline story over on SmackDown again. He might request a trade back to SmackDown to help his brother Jimmy. And I'm assuming that Jimmy Uso comes back at this event, but I'll talk about it down the road. I am thinking that the Money in the Bank briefcase also wouldn't really serve Jey Uso too well, but it is yet to be seen. But in my opinion, the man who I think should win Money in the Bank this year is Andrade. Next up, I want to talk about the Intercontinental Championship match between Sami Zayn as he defends his title against the upstart Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker has been doing some wild stuff on Monday Night Raw. It's been a joy to watch him grow from NXT all the way in 2021 to where he is almost 3 years later. Now, going up against Sami in Toronto, you would expect that WWE would do kind of what Vince McMahon liked to do in his tenure of making hometown heroes lose. But I don't think that's going to be the case in this match. I do believe that Sami Zayn will retain. I think they're also playing up the story of inexperience versus veteran experience with these two men. The first foreshadowing of this we got was on Monday Night Raw, the most recent episode, where you had Braun Breaker lay out Sami Zayn and then try to do it again on the outside, only to crash into the steel steps after Sami Zayn jumped over him. So I think that's going to be the way it goes. I think ultimately Braun's inexperience will cost him, and that will lead Sami Zayn to retaining his title. Next up, we have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Tiffany Stratton going up against Lara Valkyria versus Zoe Stark versus Naomi versus Chelsea Green versus Io Sky. And once again, just like the men's Money in the Bank match, there are some factors to look out for when it comes to interference. Now in the case of Io Sky, I don't know that there is too much interference that could happen, although I want to believe that they're not going to let her win it 2 times in a row. There is the potential to build other stars. Io is also kind of on a new trajectory of building up this more angry version of herself as a character. I do think Dakota Kai might try to help her win, and that may further cause a rift with them. It's not like there's a rift yet, but there is a hinting at it because Io has been looking at Dakota funny in the past few episodes of Raw, so I don't think Io is going to win. And then you have Zoe Stark, who for the second year running is going to be a part of this Money in the Bank match. I think she was really good in last year's event, albeit her being associated to Trish Stratus and whatnot, but Zoe is a great worker. I know there's the jokes of her not having any aura, but she's a very solid in-ring competitor, and I think she does need time. As to her chances of winning this match, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think she's quite at that point where it would be believable if she won the contract and even cashed in and won the briefcase. It would kind of look like a less over version of Damian Sandow, and that's not a knock on Sandow as well. Sandow was a great competitor, but I don't think in that time anyone believed that he could cash in and become world champion, especially when your 2 champions at the time were John Cena and I want to believe Randy Orton. Tiffany Stratton has been the odds-on favorite to win this match. She has done phenomenal work, just like Carmelo Hayes, just like Braun Breaker, ever since she was called up to the main roster. There's graphics of her floating all over the place, of her being Miss Money in the Bank, and it would suit her character-wise, but I don't know if between her or Chelsea Green, they have the LA Knight spot from last year where they were the crowd favorite and they end up not winning. Speaking of which, Chelsea Green has the chance to become Miss Money in the Bank. It would be very believable. She's been under the shadow of Piper Niven to some degree. It's a bit of a weird argument there, but all in all, does she win? I don't know. It's a toss-up for me. And then Naomi. Now, Naomi, ever since returning at the 2024 Royal Rumble, has been great in the ring. She has had multiple world championship opportunities, I believe, against Bayley. I don't know that she needs the Money in the Bank briefcase, to be honest, although it would make some sense because she's kind of feuding with Nia Jax and inadvertently Tiffany Stratton, and there is that possibility that if Nia Jax wins the title at SummerSlam, she could cash in on her. The one I think would benefit most from this Money in the Bank win might be Lara Valkyria, but ultimately I want to say that Naomi gets the win. I know I'm in the minority here, but I want to say Naomi gets the win. I don't think Tiffany Stratton will get it. I think Naomi would actually get it. And then we have the tag team match featuring the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes teaming up with the Viper, the Apex Predator, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens to go up against the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, and possibly Jacob Fatu. Now, as of the making of this video, I'm shooting this on the Friday, we don't know if it's going to be an 8-man tag team match, because if you've looked at the graphics and the poster for this match, Jacob Fatu is not made small, or none of the Bloodline members are made small like Paul Heyman was when he was in the poster before they practically killed him off on screen last week. I don't know that Jacob Fatu's first match in WWE will be this tag team match. I wouldn't expect it to be. I think there would be a greater impact felt if you had him in a singles match. This match should have the Bloodline winning because you want to establish them as legitimate as possible. I think at the end of the day, you want a situation where it's Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, which will lead to a potential Roman Reigns return. Now, just a side note here, I know that they are teasing Randy Orton potentially turning on Cody Rhodes at some point and taking on him for the undisputed title, but we will explore that in a later video. And then you have one of the most compelling matches of this year's Money in the Bank. Bank. You have Damian Priest defending his World Heavyweight Championship against a returning Seth Rollins. Now, we have not seen Seth Rollins since WrestleMania after that brutal knee injury he suffered and powered through. That man is a monster. Can't love Seth enough for what he's been able to do. Seth also returned from his injury fairly quicker than most people expected him to return, and I think that's why a lot of people believe that Seth will win this match, especially when you consider the fact that there are a lot of shenanigans going on within the Judgment Day, and there is a gentleman's agreement attached to this match where if Damian Priest loses the World Heavyweight Championship and loses this match, he will be kicked out of Judgment Day. I don't know if this is the right time to pull the trigger on Priest leaving Judgment Day. There also has been the story of Priest wanting to win these matches or these title defenses on his own, and every time he keeps trying to do that, something comes in the way. At Backlash France against Jey Uso, he received help from JD McDonough and Finn Balor. At Clash at the Castle, he received help in some form from CM Punk. This is the one match I think should be the stamp on Damian Priest's World Heavyweight Championship reign, which, mind you, has been a great championship reign. I think you want a situation where Finn Balor tries to interfere and it backfires, but somehow it ultimately ends up in a situation where Priest has almost cost the title, but he recovers from it and he still wins the match. And further sows the seeds down the road, because I really do think that in as much as Seth versus Gunther at SummerSlam is the bigger match, I do think the crowning moment of this World Heavyweight title reign is to have Priest get past this match, deal with the Judgment Day shenanigans, and ultimately face Gunther, and then deal with the bigger shenanigans at that point. Although I also have a conflicting thought that Gunther's crowning moment as World Heavyweight Champion should happen without shenanigans. It should be as clean as a whistle, but we will see. Ultimately, I am pegging Damian Priest to win this match. But that's going to be it. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you did like it and you want to see more, then please do subscribe to this channel and like this video, and check out the next video that is being suggested to you by YouTube. My name is Andy, and I'm signing out.